see regular PU board statistics. Okay, so before getting started, I would like to give a disclaimer that this is exclusively for Excel students. Why? Because again we are going to start right from the scratch in our regular classes. Okay, and the topics are selected in our convenience and for the students as well. Okay, that's why this is exclusively for Excel students. Okay, that doesn't mean that other cannot refer this one. Okay, they may not get link between the topics. Okay, because in our regular classes again we will teach the same concepts in detail. Okay, that's why. And one more thing for local students, so local students, one who doesn't completed their admission process yesterday, they have to complete their admission process on 26th along with their parents. Okay, again on 26th for local students regular classes will be begins on 26th of this month. For local students regular classes will be begins. Okay, anyway, we'll get started with our class. Okay, so as I mentioned, these are very basics, no need to worry about that. Okay, again we are going to teach in our regular classes. Okay, first one is, so usually in usually in statistics we are going to refer different terminologies. Okay, today we are going to see few of them. So let's try to understand what they are actually. Okay, how we are going to use in our day-to-day life or in academics, how we are going to use them. First one is frequency. So most generally in our common communication we will often use the term frequency. Okay, in statistics frequency is nothing but a repetition. Okay, frequency is nothing but repetition. For instance, let's say an example, for example in IPL matches, most of you are familiar with IPL matches. Okay, so unfortunately it is suspended due to war between India and Pakistan, and we have to respect that because country over everything. So if I want to give an example in IPL matches, for example, if your favorite team is RCB, in last 10 matches, okay, in last 10 matches of RCB, so how many matches they are won? Okay, so just to try to understand what is frequency here. Okay, frequency andre ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು. So to understand that frequency is nothing but your repetition. Okay, so in this example we are going to understand what is frequency. Okay, according to this one, last 10 matches of RCB maybe like they might own, loss. Just count how many are there. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, these are the results of 10 matches of RCB. Okay, now how we can do a frequency distribution here. Okay, so based on these 10 matches we can construct one frequency distribution. Okay, so the results are, what are the results here? Either RCB won the match or lost that match. Here we can count the frequency. Okay, frequencies are usually denoted by F. So here R is nothing but a result. Okay, that is our variable. So variable takes the values W and L. Here W stands for the match which won by RCB and L stands for its losses. Okay, now we just need to count how many matches won by RCB. That is 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Okay, so 6 times RCB won the matches in recent 10 matches. Okay, similarly that means that remaining 4 matches they have lost. Okay, this is a simple frequency distribution. By using tally marks also we usually create that one. Okay, so those things will be learned later. So first we need to understand what is frequency. So frequency is nothing but repetition. Here W is repeated for 6 times. This means that we should know how to interpret the results as well. Okay, here W is nothing but RCB won 6 times. In out of 10 matches, RCB won 6 matches. Okay, here W repeated 6 times. This means repetition. Frequency is nothing but a repetition. Similarly, 4 matches they have lost here. Okay, that is also L repeated for 4 times. Okay, this is what frequency. So frequency is nothing but repetition. Okay, you can construct for any other variables as well. Okay, the variables we will understand later. Okay, so first this is about simple topic frequency. So frequency is nothing but repetition. Okay, here we can understand frequency can be constructed in 2 ways. Okay, here this one is also an example. Number of children, number of families according to their number of children. Okay, you can understand here. See, number of children 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, number of children, and how many families are there with no child. Okay, here we have already constructed a frequency distribution directly here. The number of children takes the values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means no child here in only 1 child. Similarly 2 children, 3 children, and 4 children here. Okay, how many families are there with no child? There are 10 families are there. Okay, there are altogether 10 families in a any locality. Just this is an example, and there are 25 families with 1 child. Okay, similarly 30 families with 2 child, 6 families with 3 child, and 4 families with 4 children. Okay, 6 families with 3 children and 4 families with 4 children. Okay, we have taken 75 families. Okay, in this data we have taken 75 families. Out of these 75 families, this is how frequencies are distributed. Okay, 75 families ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ frequency distribute ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ we can understand here. Okay, this is nothing but frequency distribution. Okay, that means 0 repeated 10 times. Okay, that is nothing but repetition again. Okay, here this will be the frequency. This is nothing but frequency. 0 repeated 10 times. Similarly 1 repeated 25 times. Same way 4 repeated 4 times. Okay, we should understand how we can interpret this analysis as well. Okay, in statistics, analysis is very important. No, I know, just doing the calculation is another part. I know what is the outcome of that calculation. Okay, that is very important. We should understand how to interpret the result as well. Okay, so in a simple frequency distribution, everyone can understand, everyone can do frequency distribution. At the same time, we should know how to interpret that frequencies. Okay, so here 30 and 2, what we can understand. Okay, there are 30 families are there, and in those families there are only 2 children are there. Okay, this is what the exact interpretation of this example. Okay, see here you can notice between this example and this one, second example. Okay, in the first example we have taken the values of the variables. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the values taken by the variable, and this is the frequency here. Okay, frequencies are known here, but here instead of direct value we have class interval. In the second example, here we have limits, small limits or range, where we have very small width of class intervals here. Okay, you can clearly notice in the first example we don't have any limits or class interval. In the second example there is a class interval. There are class intervals are there. Okay, so why we have constructed differently? You might get a question that why we have difference between them. Okay, see here the in this example range is very small. In the first example we have very on the basis of nature of the variable as well. Okay, so when we have such nature and when the range is very small, we cannot construct class intervals. Okay, when we have very small set of data, when the range of the data is very small, we cannot construct class intervals. So range is nothing but what? It is the difference between highest and lowest value in the data. Here the highest value is 4, lowest value is 0. Okay, so range will be 4 only. So 4 is a small number. So when we have very small range, at that time we don't construct class interval. Okay, we will directly take the specific values. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4 are the specific values. Okay, here we will take only specific value instead of class interval. Okay, so class intervals, when we will consider or when we will construct class intervals, means when we have range is large, when we have large range or more range is there, at that time instead of this way in the sense, this is called actually discrete frequency distribution. Okay, frequency distribution, there are two ways. One is discrete frequency distribution, another one is continuous frequency distribution. Discrete frequency distribution is nothing but the range will be very small. Okay, in other words, we don't construct class interval under discrete frequency distribution. So discrete is nothing but it will take only specific values. Okay, meaning of discrete is nothing but here it will take only specific values. So meaning of discrete is nothing but it will take only specific values. These are the specific values. So ಯಾವುದು specific value ತಗೊಳ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ variable is nothing but here number of children. Okay, number of children is nothing but here variable, and that will take these specific values. Okay, when the variable takes specific values, at that time it will be discrete. So under discrete frequency distribution we cannot construct class intervals. Okay, we cannot construct class interval because range is very small. So range is nothing but the difference between highest and lowest value. Okay, I hope it is clear. If it is not clear, just let me know in the comment box later. Okay, again I can explain you. Similarly, when we can have class interval, okay, when we can have class interval in the sense when we have more range in the data. Okay, variation, when the variation is more or when the data range is more, at that time instead of discrete frequency distribution we can construct class interval, that means continuous frequency distribution. Okay, so when we are going for continuous frequency distribution, if the range is more, okay, if the range is more, okay, so here it is very clear the range is here 80 minus 30, which is 50. Okay, here the range is 50, which is sufficiently large. So at that time instead of taking specific values, if we consider specific values, what happens here? We have to consider like 30, 31, 32, so on till 80, which will be completely inconvenient. Okay, to make it very simple, instead of taking discrete values, we can have class intervals. Okay, we can have class intervals. So class intervals are nothing but here 30 to 40 is the one interval. Similarly 40 to 50 is the another interval. Okay, between that interval what is the frequency? Okay, 32. Again, it will be, I'll show another example. How do we get this kind of frequency distribution? Okay, so here 30 to 40 is the first class interval. 30 to 40 is the first class interval. Similarly, 40 to 50 is the another next class interval, and they are in the order. So up to the highest data. Okay, up to the highest data, we should consider class intervals. You might get another question like why we should take the width as 10. Okay, that is again depends. We can reduce that width to 5. Okay, instead of 30 to 40, we can have 30 to 35, 35 to 40, like that also we can construct. Okay, for instance, 30 to 35, 35 to 40, 40 to 45. In this way also we can consider class interval. There is no as such rule to construct continuous frequency distribution. Okay, so here 10 is nothing but there are 30 to 40. Okay, it is repeated for 10 times. In this example, what is it saying is weight of persons. Okay, so weight is in terms of kg. 30 to 40, there are 10 persons are there whose height is whose weight is in between 30 and 40. Similarly, there are 32 persons are there whose height is in between 50 and 60, like that. Similarly, there are 10 persons are there whose height is between 70 and 80. Okay, so further just we'll see how we can construct these frequency distributions. Okay, I will show you that so that you will get additional idea. See here, this is very clear. Here one data says that number of goals in 20 matches. Okay, number of goals in 20 matches are given. Hope you can understand this example. So number of goals in each match. First match 5 goals, next match 1 goal, next there is no goal, 3, like that. Till here we have the data. This is the goals in 20 matches. Okay, so since the range, you can check the range, highest value in this data is 5, so we can calculate its range. So range is nothing but the difference between highest and lowest value. Range is nothing but the difference between highest and lowest value. Here we can notice the highest value. Kushal JD, hostel students, when it is going to start. Okay, we will let you know in the group, Kushal. Okay, so as of now you can expect by June first week. Okay, so we will, you can mentally make the preparation. June first week there will be a first year hostel students classes will also going to start. Okay, exact date we will mention in the WhatsApp group. Okay, we will get all the updates in that group itself. Okay, so now let's try to understand this example. So what is the range here? If there are any online students are in online, just let me know what is the range. Can you calculate range so that I can understand that you are getting something, otherwise it will be a one-sided. So if anyone are in online, just put it in the comment box. Okay, here the range is highest value is 5. You can notice that highest value in the data set is 5 and the least value, lowest value is 0. Okay, highest value is 5. Okay, so 5 minus 0 is again 5, and this is sufficiently small value. Okay, this is sufficiently a small value. That is nothing but we have very small range for this data. So when we have a very small data, instead of considering class intervals, we can take their specific values. Okay, here we didn't construct class intervals. Okay, at that time in class intervals are not suggested. Okay, here we can have specific values. What are the specific values? 0, we have to consider them in the order. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so now we have to check how many times a 0 is repeated. Okay, it is very clear how many times. 1, and here one more 0. We have 2 tally marks for that. Okay, 0 is repeated two times, so its frequency will be 2. Similarly, we next goal is 1. Okay, we have to check how many times 1 is appeared here. So here we have 1 and one more here. Similarly, we have 2 tally marks, that is nothing but 2 frequency. Similarly, 2 is how many times 2 is repeated. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2 is repeated. So we will get 6 tally marks and its frequency will be 6. Okay, this is how we will construct a discrete frequency distribution. Okay, this is nothing but discrete frequency distribution. So what is discrete here? Discrete means it will take only specific values. Discrete is nothing but it will take only specific values. Okay, at that time we are not going for class intervals. That means, in other words, we will have very small range. Okay, at that time we will not go for class interval. If you are not going for class interval, we will take only specific values. Okay, so if your number of goals is nothing but variable, and this variable takes the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How we have selected these values? Based on this data. Okay, based on this data. So after 5 we don't have any value in the data set, so we no need to consider that value because we don't get any frequency for that. Okay, similarly, after writing all the specific values, we have to find their frequency. Frequency is nothing but repetition, so we have to count how many times 0 is repeated. Okay, we can do that by tally marks. Okay, so you might have learned this in your basics. Okay, these are all very basic concepts. Okay, so this is how we will consider discrete frequency distribution. Okay, I hope you are getting what is discrete frequency distribution. Okay, similarly, check this question, second question. In the second question, you can find the difference between previous question and this question. Okay, so in this question, look at the nature of the data set. Okay, data set is the here. So how to decide whether we need class intervals or whether we need only specific values? How do we decide that? Okay, so to check that, we have to calculate its range and nature of the variable as well. Here it is about marks. Okay, so marks is again continuous variable that will be taught later. As of now, try to understand only range. Okay, you may not get what is variable as of now. Okay, that will be taught later. Now the range of this data set is how much? Here the least value is, I guess, 4. Do we have any other least value? Here we have 3. So 3 is the least value. So range will be, the highest value is how much here? 24. Do we have any other highest value? So 24 is the highest value. So range is nothing but highest value 24 minus the lowest value 3. 24 minus 3 is nothing but 21. So it is comparatively large. Okay, we have range is here comparatively large. So when we have large range, instead of specific values, we can have class intervals. Okay, so here it is not too large, the range is not too large, so at that time we can go for the width. So width is nothing but difference between, here see here, one more point you need to understand. So this is the first class 0 to 5. Okay, first class interval, we will call it as first class interval. So each class interval will have two limits. First one is lower limit, lowest value, and highest value of that class will be upper limit. Okay, each class will have lower limit and upper limit. Okay, so how do we decide that these are all lower limits? So all these are all lower limits and all these are upper limits. Okay, for each class we can have lower limit and upper limit. So lowest value of that class will be considered as lower limit, highest value of this class will be considered as upper limit. Okay, so upper limit minus lower limit, upper limit minus lower limit is nothing but width of the class, or which is also known as size of the class. Okay, so how do we get that? Upper limit minus lower limit. So definitely you can calculate width of the first class here. So width or size, 5 minus 0 is 5. So it here width is 5. Similarly, if you take any other class, 20 minus 15, it is again end up with 5 only. Okay, so in this one, class interval with width 5. Okay, so why we didn't consider width 10 here? Because the range, okay, range is not too large here. Okay, if we consider 10, it will be, you know, completed with only 0 to 10, 10 to 20. We can have only 2 classes. Okay, so usually we will consider minimum 4 classes. Okay, these are nothing but class intervals, nothing but classes. Okay, here how many classes we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 classes. Okay, so while considering frequency distribution, at least we should have minimum 4 classes. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule for that. Okay, so that is general tendency, we should have at least 4 classes. Okay, so if we take 10 as width here, we will get only 2 class intervals, but if we take 5 as width, we can have more number of classes. Okay, so again you should remember what is width, range and class intervals. Okay, what is upper limit, what is lower limit. Okay, so here we have tally marks and frequency. That means 0 to 5. Now we should consider 0 to 5 how many are there. Before that, look at here. See, here the upper limit 5 is included, we have here, and this is included in lower limit as well. Okay, so here the 5 is, we have 0 to 5, similarly we have 5 to 10. That means here the 5 is upper limit, here 5 is the lower limit, in the next class 5 is lower limit, in the first class 5 is the upper limit. Okay, when we are end of such situation, this is nothing but exclusive. Okay, this is nothing but exclusive. Exclusive is nothing but here 5 is not included actually. Okay, 5 is not included, but that 5 is included in the next class. Okay, ideally we will take the values are, for this data we will consider only 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These value will be included in this class. Similarly 5 to 10 means in the next class it is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, these data will be included. Okay, here upper limit 5 is not included here, which is included in the next class. So such classes are nothing but exclusive class intervals. Okay, so we should not consider 5 here, we cannot take 5 here. Okay, how many are there? For example, in the first sentence here, see, this 5 will not be included here. Ideally, what I am explaining is this 5 is not included in the first class. Okay, then what else is included? Then 3 is included, 4 is included. That's how we will get only 2. Okay, that's how we will get only 2 frequency. Why they are not included? Because they are included in the next class. Okay, they are included in the next class. Okay, hope you are getting. If you didn't understand, just let me know. So here this is exclusive class intervals. Exclusive class intervals are nothing but the upper limit is not included in that class, which included in the next class. Similarly, 10 is not included here, which is included in the next class. 15 is not included here because 15 is upper limit, which is included in the next class. Likewise, okay, 20 and 25, they are not included. Okay, here since it is the 25 is the last class, if we get 25, we should have another class like that. Okay, see, this is another type of class interval. Here 40 to 44, similarly 45 to 49. Okay, see here 40 to 44, 45. Here upper limit is not same as lower limit of the next class. Okay, try to understand. See here upper limit of the first class, upper limit of the first class is not same as lower limit of the next class. Here they are different. See upper limit 44 here, 40 here the lower limit is 45. Upper limit of the first class and lower limit of the first class are different. Similarly, here upper limit of the second class and lower limit of the third class are different. Okay, previous one what we had actually in the previous example, they were same 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Okay, upper limit of the first class and lower limit of the next class are same here. When we are encounter such situation, they are exclusive class intervals. Exclusive means both upper limits are excluded in that class. Ideally exclusives are nothing but upper limits are excluded in that class. Okay, so but in the next example here upper limit and lower limit both are included in the same class. Okay, here 40 to 44 everything will be considered, unlike in the previous one. Okay, so we will consider 40, 41, 42, 43 and 44 as well. Okay, all these values will be considered here itself. Okay, this is the difference between this example and previous one. Okay, so this is about how we can consider frequency distribution in simple way. Okay, if you didn't get, okay, you can just let me know in the comment box. And anything, I mean, again we are going to teach the same concept and in right from the very basic. Okay, hope it is clear, and by this I'm going to wind up this session. Okay, so again I'll get back to you with another concept in the next sessions. Till then, take care.